The Torah commands us that if one has a baby boy, a baby healthy boy, one is obligated to do a Bris Milah, a circumcision on day 8. It's the obligation on the father to circumcise the son. You know, whether he does it or someone else does it, the minhag is you usually get a mohel to do it. But it's his obligation to ensure that his son gets come out. As it says, V'yom hashmini yimo b'sar alaso. And the Gemara and Chazal tell us and make a drasha, V'yom hashmini uv'yom afilu b'Shabbos. Even though we have in other areas regarding the mitzvah of shofar, the mitzvah of daled minim, the mitzvah of Megillah, a gzeira derava, that if Megillah falls out on Shabbos, or Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot, one does not go ahead and blow the shofar because we're afraid you might come to violate Shabbos, carry in Rishus HaRabim, and similarly by Lulav. So yet, even though we do have Gzeira Derava by other mitzvahs, by the mitzvah of Milah, we don't say Gzeira Derava. Different reasons, Tosas, other Rishonim give, because Milah is an Aseh Sheyesh Bo Kares. Failure to perform Lulav or shofar is not a good thing, it's just a bit to Aseh. But failure to perform Milah, it's one of the two mitzvahs, Milah and Karban Pesach. Failure to perform incurs the penalty of Kares. So we're very strict. Other reasons, the Taz, V'yom ha'filu b'Shabbos, is the Yud Gimel Midas. It's like it's Mefurish B'Kra, and therefore we don't have the power. Whatever the reasons be, it's a given lahalacha that Uvayom Hashmini Yimo B'Sar Laso Afilu b'Shabbos. We accept that one does a Bris Milah on the Shabbos. So that the Gemara explains. That's only a Milah Bismana. That's only if the child is born. And it's day 8 now. If day 8 is Shabbos, so then we permit a Milah b'Shabbos. However, a Milah Shelo Bismana, a Milah not in its appropriate time, the baby was sick, jaundice, you couldn't have the bris, so therefore if day 10 is Shabbos, one does not do, if day 10 is Shabbos, and that's the first time the baby's healthy enough to have a bris, so we don't do the bris on Shabbos, we wait until Sunday. So a Milah Bismana we do on Shabbos, a Milah Shelo Bismana we do not do on Shabbos. And they point out as well that this is in a case of, and so this halacha applies as well, not only to Shabbos, but as well as Yantiv as well. To do a Milah on Yantiv, you also have to have a Milah Bismana. There's a discussion in the Mefarshim in terms of, in the commentators, what about a suffix Milah Bismana? What would be a case of a suffix Milah Bismana? So there's a couple of cases. Let's say one is the classical case of a Ben Hashmashos baby. The baby is born, so what is Ben Hashmashos? Up until sunset is Vadayom, is considered definitely day. Until nightfall, after nightfall is considered the next day. The time period between sunset and nightfall, that is considered Ben Hashmashos, which is an halacha, we call it Safek Yom, Safek Laila. So the question is, what if a baby is born Friday Ben Hashmashos? So we can't do the bris on Friday because maybe it's only day 7. And we can't do the bris on Shabbos because maybe it's not day 8. It's a suffix. We don't know if the child considered he's born on Friday, so Friday would be day 8, Shabbos would be day 9. So therefore, we don't go ahead and do the bris on Shabbos. So a Milah Bismana we do, but a suffix Milah Bismana we don't do the bris on Shabbos. Only a Vadai is Docha Shabbos. Another example of a suffix Milah Bismana is the case in the Gemara about the C-section baby. The Gemara talks about a discussion. You have a baby that's born through C-section. So the question is, when is the appropriate time for the Milah? Is it day 1 or is it day 8? Like, what's the issue? The Gemara goes through that one opinion there, it says you do, there's no reason to wait. Others say, Ishaki says, we have a Yalda Zacha, V'tameh Sheva Shamim, they learn from Tumas Nida, so it's day 8. So it's a machokas in the Gemara on whether it's day 1 or day 8. It's a Sveika Dedina, it's not conclusive. So therefore what we do is, so if you have a C-section baby born on Tuesday, so we do the bris on the following Tuesday because we're Manashach. If day 1 is the day, so day 8 counts also. And if day 8 is the day, so it's good. However, if you do it day 1 and it's supposed to be day 8, so it's a Milah Shavol Bismana, you need at least Hatafis Tam Bris. That's the case of a C-section baby. However, the Gemara says, what about if you have a C-section baby on Shabbos? So that's what the Mefarshim point out. We don't do a C-section baby on Shabbos for that reason, because it's a suffix Milah Bismana. Because if it's day 8, you're supposed to do a C-section. It's a Milah Bismana. But if C-section is day 1, doing it on day 8 would be a Milah Shavol Bismana. So that's what we conclude. We need a Milah Bismana to be Docha Shabbos and Yantiv, and even a suffix Milah Bismana, a Ben Hashmash's baby or a C-section baby, we don't do on Yantiv as well. What about Yantiv Sheni? Do we do a Milah Shalom Bismana on Yantiv Sheni? We don't do it on Shabbos, we don't do it on Yantiv Rishon. What about Yantiv Sheni? So it seems to be a machlokas Rishonian between the Rambam and the Rush. The Rambam says one can do a Milah Shalom Bismana on Yantiv Sheni, and the Rush is cholek and says it's a no-go. So what is the issue at hand between the Rambam and the Rush on whether one can do a Bris Milah on a Milah Shavol Bismana on Yantiv Sheni? So it depends on what is the nature of the din of Yantiv Sheni. If you hold it's a din of a minhag, so a minhag doesn't overrule a Milah Shavol Bismana. Milah Shavol Bismana is also a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah to do Milah. That seems to be the Shitas of Rambam, and the Rosh holds no, it's a real Takana D'Rabbanan, so therefore we don't do Milah on Yantiv Sheni. So I think the minig is that we're machmir, that we don't do a Milah Shavol Bismana on Yantiv Sheni because the machlokas, the Rosh, and the Rambam. However, what about a suffix Milah Shavol Bismana on Yantiv Sheni? That seems to be a machlokas Shach and the Taz, and I think the poskim Ameko because it's a svek sveika. One suffix is maybe it's a Milah Bismana, so therefore it's mutter. And even if it's not a Milah Bismana, according to the Shitas Rambam, it's permitted. So therefore, based on the svek sveika, the poskim Ameko, because really the Mishnah is only talking about it on, they only talk about it on Rosh Hashanah, 2 days Rosh Hashanah. So it says, a Milah Shalom Bismana cannot be done on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. So that's a given. That's in the Mishnah. But because that's Yom HaRichta. But so the Shaila is, but maybe that's the second day of Rosh Hashanah is more Chomer. But what about the second day of Pesach, Sukkot, and Jewish? That's the Machlokes, the Rambam, and the Rosh. The Rambam, yes, the Rosh, no. Therefore, when it comes to a suffix Milah Bizmana, so therefore you have a Svek Sveka, maybe it's a Milah Bizmana, maybe it's not. Even if it's not, we go with the Rambam. And then what about a suffix Milah Bizmana on the second day of Rosh Hashanah? So I believe, I don't recall 100%, but I believe it's a Machokes, the Chasim Sofer and Rav Aaron Kohler. I don't remember who says what, but I vaguely remember Machokes between the Chasim Sofer and Rav Aaron Kohler on a suffix Milah Shelo Bizmana. Can you do it on the second day of Rosh Hashanah? On the second day of Yantiv, we say yes. The Shaila is, what about the second day of Rosh Hashanah? Because it's Yom HaRichta. So that's some of the issue regarding a Milah Bizmana, that we know there's an important mitzvah to do Milah in its proper time, and we do it on day 8, and therefore it's even Doche Shabbos and Doche Yantiv as well. But in the case of a Milah Shelo Bizmana, therefore we don't Doche Shabbos or Yantiv. Yantiv Sheni is a Machlokes, the Rambam, and the Rosh. And regarding a suffix Milah Shelo Bizmana, so Kuyama should agree on a regular Yantiv Sheni it's a go. On a Yantiv Sheni Rosh Hashanah, it seems to be Machlokes, the Chasim Sofer and Rav Aaron Cutler.